I'm going to jump right now into our very first question for the panel. And that is, how is your organization currently focused on developing AI educational tools or facilitating the use of AI in teaching and learning? Let's see. So we have Steve. You want to go first on this one?
Sure, be happy to. So Carnegie Learning is an interesting story with respect to AI because, as I mentioned, our origins are in cognitive modeling, understanding how students think and embedding those models in software that guides instruction. That's what we sometimes refer to as good old-fashioned AI now. It is a form of AI, symbolic AI that personalizes instruction for students. And so we continue to do that. But I think mostly people are focused now on the kind of revolution introduced by generative AI. And when we think about generative AI, I think of our activities in two broad areas. One is content, which is focused on motivation. So I mentioned my background is in cognitive psychology. Mostly historically, I've thought about like how people think, how students think and learn. But motivation is equally important. And one of the things that AI allows us to do is to create mathematics content that students can relate to better and thus learn better from it. At least we hope so. Second area is more instructional related to feedback. And that's, I think we're particularly excited about multimodal feedback. So Mathia, our kind of traditional, like I said, symbolic AI tool is built around giving students individualized feedback based on the correct answers that they're giving, the mistakes that they make, and the hints that they ask for. We looked at data from Mathia last year. We gave 3.1 million unique hints to students. But all those hints and feedback messages, all those messages were text because that's what's easy to generate or capable to generate with more traditional technologies. And now we're thinking, well, sometimes the right kind of feedback might be a video, it might be an animation, it might be a diagram, but all, again, personalized, right? When you give a student a diagram, you want to show them like, here's what you did, here's what you should have done. So visually, so personalized to the way they're thinking. So that's those are two big areas that we've been focusing on.
That's really cool. I'll go next if that's all right. I can talk about what we're doing for AI at Infinite Campus. And I think most people, when they think of Infinite Campus, think about a student information system, but we're actually a lot more than that. Like I said, I'm the Chief Product Officer of Teaching and Learning, and we are building the learning management system. And the learning management system, we're built really alongside the student information system. So it's really effectively one product. And we have sort of two things too. In the short term, the focus is really around integrations with learning partners like Carnegie Learning, because they're doing AI really, really well right now. They're doing extraordinary things. And we don't want to compete with them because we're not doing that kind of work. We're a software company that's not in content and that kind of stuff. But we want to partner with them. So we're working really hard on doing integrations that partner with some of the people that are more on the content side and doing those pieces that are really much more advanced in AI right now. But to integrate successfully and sustainably and to do it at scale, it's really important that we follow standards in doing that. Because if you don't follow standards, you have to do it uniquely for every partner that you have. So it's very important that we support those standards and really push those organizations forward as well. In the long term, however, we are working towards something called agile learning. And with agile learning, we'll be using AI to schedule students into small groups. And then we're going to build a recommendation engine that will match those specific groups with content from the learning partners that have been proven to be effective. So like all other AI tools, we believe this is going to be transformative, especially within the classroom.
So maybe I'd jump in there with a as well. Thanks, Carla and Steve. Some of the work that we're doing is, I think, on kind of two areas. One of them is, I think, really oriented on kind of elevating and amplifying effective practices. So I was just on a phone call with Steve Fanksali, who is works with Carnegie Learning yesterday, talking about Director of Data Science, talking about a presentation we'll be making at an upcoming Ames convening event to talk about the ways that they've been looking at the evidence generated through platforms and through the results they see of some of the ways students react and respond to those 3.1 million text messages, not that in particular, the hints that they receive. How do students use them? What do they do with them? What happens afterwards? Some of that. So elevating some of the work that's done around that. And then more broadly, thinking, how do we know, I think to Carla's, the question you just raised, or the point you just raised, what does transformative mean for the students? And how do we know if we've achieved it? And then, the tricky point there then becomes both in what do we know, especially in these contexts with the new AI, when you can't always anticipate to make materials motivational and meaningful to students. You often have use cases that you didn't anticipate in design. So how do you evaluate that and then do that in a way that can help demonstrate how well this is working or whether it's not working? And I think, we'll talk. I know there's a later question about the future of research, but this kind of early evidence generation, early usage, doing that, I think in a more robust way than is often done, is something, again, we're trying to both to demonstrate and create, I think, some, if not standardized approaches, at least some common methods and models around how we can look at these technologies, because there's a big thread going on, it seems like, in both LinkedIn as well as on a couple lists that I'm on right now that are bemoaning the state of RCTs that are done on generative AI. And I think there's really good work being done around research and figuring out how to both organize that and to put that together so that our stakeholders and parents can feel a little more confidence about the tools that are being used in classrooms.
Mm. And I think that's great. So we had, in terms of AI, kind of the instructional content, the agile learning and the LMS and student information system point of view, as well as, John, your kind of amplifying and asking the question, like, how do we know we're doing a good job at this, right?